Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation. I'm David, your English teacher, and today we're going to talk about business English. And the topic will be starting a business. Now, this presentation is part of a program where I help intermediate or advanced speakers, so people who already know English, but I help them get the best business English. Right, because a lot of people, they learn school English, academic English, grammar and all these things, and they already speak it, but they want to get to the next level. They want to be able to use English professionally, in a in a context, in a business context, right? So we do a lot of speaking, and we have those classes online. So if you're interested, if you speak English and you want to speak top level business English, then contact me and we can, and you can join the live calls, right? So let's start talking about business, right? So today on my TikTok, and Instagram, actually, if you want to follow me, it's David Alexander Cantu, right? My full name, David Alexander Cantu, and I'm on all social networks. I talked about running a business, how, about when you run a business, you manage it, you operate it. But this one is a little bit different. This one is about starting a business, the first steps. Okay. So when a business is born, you can say the best way to say that is established. So when was your business established? When was your company established? My company was established in 2012, for example. Okay, so talk about that. When you can also say founded, a lot of people say founded, but established is also a very nice one. Okay, so here are some keywords, right? So we have a lot of different types of companies. Now, one that's very popular right now is a startup, right? A startup, and it's a newly established business. Typically, it's small. Typically, it's in the tech sector, right? Tech sector, and also, quite often, few people, it's young, it's this, and it's a very popular one, right? Popular business model nowadays. So it's the startup, right? Now we also have the break even point, right? So a lot of companies, or a lot of startups, actually, in the beginning, they are at break even point. You can also say break even point, and that's when you have no profit or loss at the end of a business activity. You don't make money and you don't lose money. You break even. You end at zero. A lot of nonprofits are also, they have to be by law at break even. Okay? Or as a verb, they have to break even. They have to break even, or they have to be at a break even point, right? So that's it. Next one. Okay, we have lease. Okay, a lease is when you use property for an agreed period of time in exchange for money. Pretty much rent, right? When you rent, it's a lease. You use the property. You don't own it, you only use it. A company has a lot of running costs. What does that mean? Running costs, right? So it's basically the money you need to spend regularly to keep a business working. The running costs are the costs of operating a business. You could say the operation expenses, or operational costs, operation costs, daily expenses. To keep the project going, to keep the business working. Those are the running costs. Trademarked, great word here. It's something. It can be, a product, right? Or a formula, or maybe even ideas can be, right? But typically it's products. They are trademarked. That means they are protected by law. So other companies or individuals can't use it. So something is trademarked. This product is trademarked. This formula for this drink, or for this medicine, it is trademarked. A business structure is a very good one. It's a company or an organization category, right? So the structure of a business, it's how it's structured. What category is it in? Is it a limited liability company? Is it a sole proprietorship? Is it a corporation? That is the business structure. And the last one here for this section is the initial investment. So the initial investment is the money you need to spend at the beginning of a new project, how much you invest in the beginning. That's why it's initial. Initial means beginning. So initial investment. Investment is when you put money and you want the money to grow. So you're not working for money, but money is working for you. You see, that's it's a little bit more passive, right? But it's when money grows, right? And typically, it's when you buy, well, there's a lot of ways to invest, right? You can buy stock, you can invest in your company, invest in yourself, right? So that is there's an expectation of future profit. All right here we have we're going to read a little article. I'll show you the article in a little bit, and I'll send it to you if you're part of the program. And the article is about how to start a business, different steps. All right. So here we have, I'll just give you the general idea. So first of all, you need to do your research. What does this mean? You need to read. You need to talk to people. You need to find out, what is the industry like? What are the macroeconomic, situation like? Who are the customers? What are the profits like? Talk about your competition. So that's your research. You do your research. After that, you want to make a plan, right? You want to make a plan, short-term plan, long-term plan, decide what steps you're going to take. After that, you need to plan your finances because it takes money to start a business. So you need to plan the finances. You can talk to, some professionals, maybe some, someone in the bank or an accountant or someone to give you an idea how much money you'll need for the business. And of course, you also need to reconcile that with your personal finances because most of the time in the beginning of a business, you'll either lose money or you'll break even, right? So you need to also plan your personal finances so that you are not in a difficult situation, right? After you plan your finances, you want to establish your company. You can incorporate it if it's a company. You can, just do the paperwork that you need, to make it official. So you want to establish it. You want to found your company, right? After that, you want to establish a business location. So do you have a place, or is it going to be on an online business, right? So a location is important, right? Also, what countries? Now you can establish businesses in different parts of the world, and that can be beneficial, when it comes to taxes and different legal legal things, right? So you need to make sure that you establish the location, right? After that, you want to hire your team. So start interviewing people and get the people that you'll need, to help you run the business. And finally, you want to promote the business, right? And that's, some people say that's the hardest part, because the first part is just getting money together, planning, blah, 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 but then promoting, right? Which that people know about your business. So those are the basic things here. We have, I recommend you reading this, this article right here, how to start a business. It's very, very good. It's a good one. We also adapted it. I adapted it so that, for the level, upper intermediate. Okay, so it's very good. And we will do some activities around it. So if you can read the article, make sure you do so. Okay. And then, of course, here we have the different stages of it. And you'd want to fill in the blank with the right stage of the business. All right, now we're going to go over some collocations. Collocations are words or combination of words that typically go together, right? So I'm going to explain these, right? So to pursue, okay, to go for, you want to pursue your passions. That means you want to do what you love to do. That's the most important thing, right? Because if you start a business and you don't love it, it's going to be hard. So you want to pursue your passions. Do what you love to do. Go for what you love. Pursue your passions. Another one, another great one right here is to seek financial support. Now, you're going to need investors. You're going to need money. You can borrow money, right? And then pay it back. And we're going to talk about financing later, but you need to seek financial support. Get financial support, right? Get help, seek it, look for it, look for ways to finance, to fund your business. Number 3, okay, we also have to cover expenses. Okay, expenses, what the costs to running your business, you need to cover them. When you say cover them, you need to pay for them, right? You need to make sure that your expenses are covered. You need to make sure that your expenses are paid, right? Because if you can't pay your expenses, then your company will fail. So cover your expenses, cover expenses. Next one, we want to do make a profit, right? So we talked about break even when you don't make money, but the point of a business is to make a profit. That means to make money, right? To be in the green, right? Make a profit. Okay. We also have, register a domain name. So everything's on the internet right now. So you definitely need to register a domain name. Of course, you can do the normal one, the .com or the .gov or .us or .net or whatever it is. You can also go into ENS, the Ethereum name service, and register one of these new type of domain names, right, that are crypto friendly, right? But that's the next level. Okay, if not at least .com or where, depending on where you are in the world, right? So register a domain name. You also need to employ staff. Employ staff means hire people, give jobs to people, employ staff. Employing staff is, of course, you could do it all by yourself. I have a little bit of a business here, and I do everything right now, right? But sooner or later, I'm going to have to start employing staff, people to help me, right? So it's important to do that. Okay, next one, fill job positions. You have different job positions. You need to fill them, right? If they're not filled, you don't have anyone to do it, but you fill the job position. That means you have someone to do the job. Okay, set up a business. That's the same thing as establishing a business. To set it up. Set it up is to organize it, to do, to create it. You set it up and you organize it, of course. You set up a business. And the last one is stick to a plan, right? So we talked about making a plan, very, very important, but you need to stick to it. A lot of businesses fail because people, they don't stick to the plan. They create a plan and then they change plans. They're like, oh, well, let's do this instead, or oh, this isn't working. Let's change our model. Not a good idea. You need to stick to your plan. Now, as I told you right now, we have different ways of financing a business. What does it mean to finance a business? It means to get the necessary capital to run the business. Businesses need money. You need money to run a business. Of course, you could invest your time in the beginning. A lot of people do that, so that you don't need money. But of course, most of the time when you want to grow, you will need money sooner or later. And that's financing. Well, finance is getting money, right? So there's a lot of different ways of financing a business. So an easy, the most basic way is a small business loan. You borrow money, often from a bank, and you have to pay it back. Small business loan. Now, right now, another one that's very, very popular in the US are small business grants. Grants. So that's different. The grant is different because the grant The money is given to you by the government or another organization. Of course, I don't want to go too deep in this, but money's never free. People say, oh, grants are free money. Most of the time, you need to do something in return, right? There's no such thing as free money. It doesn't exist. But of course, governments can give you the money, but then you need to, maybe collaborate with them or do whatever they say or be part of a government program or other organizations. They give you grants, but then you are under their control or under their kind of umbrella, right? But, in theory, a grant is free money, a small business grant. Now, we also have, angel investors. Angel investors are investors who invest money in a new business to help them get started. So they are the first investors. That's why they're called angel investors, because they help them out in the beginning, right? Very, very nice. Lately, we also have crowdfunding, a lot of websites, where businesses or individuals can raise money from a lot of people. And all these people contribute a small amount via the internet, right? So instead of getting, let's say 5 investors and each investor invests $10,000, right? That's like the traditional one. You ask 5 people to invest $10,000, you get $50,000. Well, on the internet, especially if you have a following, if you have followers and you have an audience, you can ask instead of 5 people $1,000, you can ask 500 people for $100, right? So 500 people, each one gives you $100. No, you'll get 50,000 to start the business, right? So that's, or even more, right? You can ask 5,000 people to give you $10, and then that's another way of financing. So that's crowdfunding. But also there is the last one, which is, this is the kind of the guerrilla style. It's called the bootstrapping. And bootstrapping, kind of like a boot, you strap your boots on. You use no investment from outside owners. Using no investment from outside owners, meaning you do it all by yourself. No outside help. You're financing everything with your own money. Now, of course, it can work, then it does work, but of course you will bear all the risk. Whereas if you get outside investors, if something doesn't work out, well, it's not only your money, they lost a little bit of money, so you get to spread it out, spread the risk or limit the risk. All right, so here we're going to talk about all of these different, these different businesses, right? And we're going to talk about how each business owner should raise money, right? So for example, Joe has a very innovative, you say both are correct, innovative, in America we say innovative idea that he thinks will interest a large number of people. However, his bank won't lend him any money, and he doesn't want to give outside investors a share of his company, right? So he can get a small business loan, right? Because the bank, told him that he that's not an option. And he doesn't want outside investors to control part of the company, right? So, here what he could do, is he could crowdfund, right? He could crowdfund, get some money from different people. He could also maybe try to get a grant. So instead of borrowing money from the bank, he can see if the government will give him any money, right? He could also bootstrap, right? He could pay for it himself, right? But he actually, here it says that he doesn't have enough money. So maybe if he has enough money, he could bootstrap, he can bootstrap it, just do or maybe find angel investors will want a share of the company, right? So angel investors probably wouldn't be the option, right? Or any type of investor. So for him, he can use the bootstrapping method, right? Just pay his money from his own pocket. He could do crowdfunding or maybe get a small business grant. Okay, so we're going to talk about these. We have different business models here, and you're going to discuss the best way to raise money, right? So I'm not going to read all of these here. You can read them and you can come to class prepared. But if you don't have time, no problem. You'll work with a partner one-to-one. We work with small groups of people, pairs typically. So 2 people will work together and we'll discuss the best way to raise money, the best way to get financing for this one, right? The last little section here, very quickly, just a few more minutes, we have business structures. We talked about this earlier. It's how the organization, how the business is set up. What is the structure? So we have a sole proprietorship, right? And that is the type of company or business that is owned and run by one person, right? And there's no legal difference between the owner and the business entity, right? So if your business fails, like the owner is personally liable. Right? So if the company borrows money, if you're a sole proprietor or if you have a sole proprietorship, if you borrow money, then the bank can come and take your house, right? They can come and take your property, your assets, right? Sole proprietorship. The owner is the business, pretty much, right? But we also have a partnership. A partnership is a company that is owned by 2 or more people, right? So it's kind of like a sole proprietorship, but instead of one person, there are several people. They're partners. They work together, right? We also have a limited liability corporation. And these are very, very good. These are awesome because it's a type of company in which the owners have no personal financial risk if the company should fail. So this is very, very good because there's less risk. You start a company. If you start a company, you need to set up the best way would be to set up a limited liability corporation or company. That means if the company fails, if the company crashes, if the company goes bankrupt, your house, your personal, money, your personal property and assets are not at risk. The sole proprietorship, the bank can come and take away your house. They can come and take away your own personal money. In this one, you're safe. We also have a public limited company, and this is in the UK, right? And it's a company whose shares can be sold to the public, right? Okay. And so they call it in the UK a public limited company. In America, we call them a corporation. And it's the same one. Okay. Corporation is a company where the owners have shares in the business and they are treated by the law as separate from the business, right? So if I own, let's say I own Tesla shares, right? Now I'm not, even though I own Tesla, I'm separate from the business because I only own the shares. I only own that, right? So that's different. Okay, so people need to understand that there is a difference there, right? So depending on where you are, where or what jurisdiction you're in, that's those would be the words that you would use. All right, and then we're also going to have a lot of conversations here. So we want to talk about starting a business in your country. Is it easy? Is it hard? Is it a good idea? What are the advantages and disadvantages of starting your own business? Do you think it's more difficult to start a business now or in the past? What's easier, right? Let's talk about that. And what skills do you need to start and to run your own business? It's not easy. You need specific skills. What are they? We're going to discuss all of this and more in our live Zoom class. So if you want to join the Zoom class, don't wait any longer. Send me a message right now. Get in touch with me right now. And you can join my program where you will speak the best top level business English, in the market. All right, everyone, take care. It was nice talking to you, and I will see you in our live class. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.